In the noisy streets of Guangzhou, China, with honking cars and busy people, a faint, desperate meow went unnoticed by most. But not by Pudding, the gentle golden retriever who lived with her owner Fu Zhang. Pudding's ears perked up and she sniffed the air, sensing something humans couldn't. She whined softly and scratched at the door. "What is it, girl?" Fu, a writer deep in thought, asked. When Fu opened the door, Pudding darted out and ran down the street. Though Fu wasn't worried at first, as time passed, he grew anxious. After 30 minutes, just as he was about to search for her, Fu heard Pudding bark. When he looked out, he saw her standing tense, barking at something across the street, as if she were guarding it. "Pudding!" Fu called out the window. "Come here, girl." To his surprise, Pudding ignored him completely. This was highly unusual. She always came when called. Fu's worry returned, tinged now with curiosity. What could have captured his loyal companion's attention so thoroughly? Curiosity finally got the better of him. Fu slipped on his shoes and headed outside, crossing the street to where Pudding stood guard. As he approached, he finally saw what had captured her attention so completely. There, huddled against a brick wall, was the scrawniest, most pitiful-looking cat he had ever seen. Its fur was matted and dirty, with ribs clearly visible beneath its patchy coat. The cat's eyes were wide with fear, but they never left Pudding. Fu's heart clenched as understanding dawned. This starving cat had been begging for help, and somehow Pudding knew. She had stood guard for hours, ensuring no harm came to the vulnerable creature. "Oh, Pudding," Fu murmured, kneeling to scratch behind her ears. "You are a wonderful, compassionate girl." Fu was immersed in the moment, so surprised that his mind wandered back to the day Pudding had come into his life. It had been a rainy afternoon 3 years ago, and he had been in a particularly foul mood. The incessant drizzle matched his gloomy disposition as he trudged home from yet another fruitless job interview. At 45, he felt like his life had passed him by. His marriage had ended in divorce, his career had stalled, and the novel he'd been working on for years remained unfinished. Lost in self-pity, Fu almost missed the pitiful whimper coming from a nearby alley. Curiosity got the better of him, and he peered into the shadows. A bedraggled puppy was huddled beneath a soggy cardboard box. Fu's heart melted at the sight. Without a second thought, he scooped up the shivering bundle of fur and tucked it inside his jacket. "Don't worry, little one," he murmured. "I'll take care of you." That night, as Pudding curled up on Fu's lap, he felt hope reignite, thinking this might be the fresh start he needed. Over time, Pudding grew into a loyal companion, her energy and affection helping Fu break out of his shell. They took long walks, met new people, and enjoyed simple pleasures. Inspired by Pudding, Fu revisited his old manuscript, and with her support, he finished it. The novel became a surprise bestseller, transforming his life. As Fu marveled at how far he'd come in 3 years, Pudding's bark interrupted his thoughts, signaling yet another surprise ahead. Just as Fu was about to suggest they bring some food for the cat, Pudding suddenly turned and raced back towards their house. Fu watched in confusion as his dog disappeared through the doggy door. Moments later, Pudding reappeared, something clutched in her mouth as she trotted back across the street. Fu's eyes widened in disbelief. There, held gently between Pudding's teeth, was a half-eaten bao bun she had snatched from the kitchen counter. Gently, Pudding set the bao bun on the ground and nudged it toward the cat with her nose. The cat hesitated, clearly torn between hunger and fear. Pudding stepped back and sat down to show she meant no harm. Slowly and cautiously, the cat inched forward, its nose twitching as it caught the scent of the food, perhaps the first it had smelled in days. With a sudden burst of courage, the cat darted forward, snatched the bao bun, and retreated to a safe distance. Fu watched in awe as the starving cat devoured the offering, purring loudly between bites. Pudding's tail wagged, her eyes bright with what could only be described as satisfaction. As the scene unfolded before him, Fu felt a warmth spread through his chest. Pudding's act of kindness had set off a chain of events that would change not just one life, but many. And it all started when a dog noticed a starving cat begging for help. In that moment, Fu knew he couldn't leave this poor creature on the streets, not after witnessing such a touching display of compassion from his own pet. As he contemplated what to do next, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from May. "Hey Fu, remember how I mentioned wanting to adopt a cat? Well, I finally got approval from my landlord. I'm going to start looking this weekend. So excited." Fu grinned, feeling as though the universe had aligned perfectly. He quickly typed out a response. "May, you won't believe what just happened. I think I found the perfect cat for you." While waiting for May's response, Fu turned his attention back to the cat. It had finished the bao bun and was now eyeing the dog with a mixture of curiosity and weariness. Pudding, for her part, remained calm and steady, her body language open and non-threatening. Fu decided to take a chance. He slowly approached the cat, speaking in soft, soothing tones. "It's okay, little one. We're here to help you." To his surprise, the cat didn't run away. Perhaps it was too weak, or maybe it sensed the kindness in Fu's voice. Carefully, he scooped up the frail creature, cradling it against his chest. He could feel its rapid heartbeat and the prominence of its bones beneath its matted fur. Let's get you cleaned up and fed properly, Fu murmured, heading back toward his house with Pudding trotting happily beside him. While waiting for May to arrive, Fu turned his attention back to the cat. He found some canned tuna in the pantry and offered a small amount to the hungry feline. The cat devoured it eagerly, purring loudly between bites. Pudding watched the proceedings with interest, her tail wagging gently. Fu couldn't help but marvel at his dog's empathy and intelligence. "You're quite the hero, aren't you, girl?" he said, scratching behind Pudding's ears. The doorbell rang, announcing May's arrival. Fu opened the door to find her standing there, her eyes shining with excitement and concern. "Where's the little one?" she asked, barely pausing to greet Fu. Fu led her to the kitchen, where the cat had curled up in its makeshift bed, looking more relaxed but still wary. May approached slowly, her voice soft and soothing. "Hello, sweetheart," she cooed. "You've had quite an adventure, haven't you?" To Fu's amazement, the cat responded to May's gentle tone. It raised its head, blinking slowly at her in what Fu recognized as a sign of trust. May carefully extended her hand, allowing the cat to sniff her fingers before gently stroking its head. As she continued to bond with the cat, Fu found himself captivated by the scene. May's compassion, her gentle touch, and the way her face lit up with joy, it all combined to create a picture of beauty that took his breath away. The cat, seemingly picking up on the positive energy in the room, let out a contented purr. It was a moment of perfect harmony, man, woman, dog, and cat, all brought together by a simple act of kindness. As the afternoon turned to evening, Fu and May made plans for the cat's care. In the morning, May would take the cat to the vet for a checkup and the necessary treatments. Fu offered to accompany them, and she gratefully accepted. Before May left with the cat, now nestled safely in a carrier, she turned to Fu with a mischievous glint in her eye. "You know," she said, "this little one needs a name. And since Pudding is the one who found her, maybe we should stick with the food theme." Fu chuckled, warming to the idea. "How about dim sum?" he suggested. "Small but full of flavor and surprises, just like our new friend here." May laughed, the sound like music to Fu's ears. She agreed. "I like it. Pudding and dim sum sounds like the beginning of a beautiful friendship." As May drove away with dim sum, promising to keep him updated on the cat's progress, Fu felt a sense of contentment wash over him. He looked down at Pudding, who was watching the departing car with interest. It was as if she too knew that this was the beginning of a new, amazing adventure for all of them. In the weeks that followed, Fu's life found a new rhythm. Days were filled with writing, and evenings spent with May and dim sum, who thrived under May's care. Inspired by their experience, May expanded her animal shelter, creating the Golden Hearts program for elderly and special needs pets, enriching both animal and human lives. As Fu worked on his new novel, he reflected on how far he had come. Once lonely and lost, he now had a family and a purpose. He realized that true success was not about accolades, but the lives touched and hearts opened along the way. Fu felt completely at peace. His life had changed unexpectedly 3 years ago, but it had led him exactly where he was meant to be. "You know," he told May, "I used to think happy endings were only in books, but now I see that life can be even more amazing than fiction." As Pudding barked and dim sum mewed, Fu realized they would face the future together. Man, woman, dog, and cat, bound by love and second chances. Once a lonely writer, Fu had found an unexpected family, brought together by compassion and kindness. Have you ever witnessed an animal's act of kindness? Share your thoughts.